So how did you get involved into teaching then?
After graduating from massage school, my basic massage instructor had asked me to come back and TA with her. And I did that for about a year, and then kind of went out and, decided to try and do the massage thing on my own. And a few years after that, I actually had to stop back at the massage school to buy some lotion. And the school's owner and my old instructor, two different people, asked me if I wanted to get a job. And I was kind of taken back, and I said, yeah, what do you guys want me to teach? And they said, well, we're thinking about bringing a spa component into the curriculum, and that's kind of the world that I had been living in for a while, so they invited me back to become an instructor and develop a spa curriculum for them. And that was back in 2004. And since then, I've increased into teaching hydrotherapy, pathology, and craniosacral therapy.
Is there anything that you don't teach?
Chinese medicine.
Okay, yeah. That's a whole new realm, isn't it?
yeah. You got to sit in the pocket of what you're strong at, and my data dump just looks like a really bad Sudoku puzzle. So
Yep. And then with teaching, did you really? Were you kind of excited? It sounded like you're kind of excited in the beginning, but were you scared to death, basically, too, or?
Yeah. There was there was definitely a visceral response to the idea of getting in front of people and trying to act like I knew what I was talking about, as the first wave instructor. But I had been coaching sports and working with youth, and actually at one of the spas that I worked at, had just kind of naturally grown into sharing techniques and ideas with other therapists that I was working with. So once I kind of got in front of the students and understood that, the whole imagining them being naked visualization didn't really work for me, I actually had to know what I was talking about. I settled into the role of teaching.
But most of the students are naked underneath the sheet, so.
That is true.
Yeah.
So the analogy, the metaphor only worked for so long, and then it actually happened, and I was like, huh.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's go back to the content.
Yep. What did you do before you got into massage then?
I was kind of a hobo. I traveled on a train with a picnic basket, No, actually, I was... I had played soccer in college, so was a student athlete studying psychology. And then just a couple of shifts in my life as a young adult, I ended up becoming an assistant superintendent for a golf course. So really early hours, and in the fall, actually the summer of '99, I was in a car accident, and I broke both of my forearms.
Oh.
And, just one of those divine comedy things. We're going to break your arms, and then we're going to stimulate you to take on a profession where you're going to use your arms every single day. So, after a night of indulgence, I threw a dart at a map, and it hit Florida. And about 6 weeks later, I had found a way to leave Cincinnati, Ohio, and move to Florida.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you still have that dart?
No. I remember what the map looked like, but I'm not even sure whose house I was at. It was one of those nights.
Yep. And how did you get involved in touch education then?
Back in late 2000, early 2001, I had gotten a job working at a resort spa here in Orlando, and began doing a lot of couples massages, and started noticing certain patterns in therapists and their therapy and their body mechanics and the complaints that they were having. So a friend of mine and I, we just kind of started having jovial conversation about how to amend body mechanics, how to amend what we're doing, how to increase the results that we're getting. And so we had visions and ideas of what that could become. And one night we came up with the name Touch Education, because it's more than just teaching massage. We're teaching people how to touch. And it's very much a semantics game, but the way that I approach it is, the idea of touch education is we're teaching people to touch, but then we're also educating people on what touch is.
And by the way, it's an awesome domain, so
Thank you.
you really scored there. So,
All right.
So, what was your first class that you developed on?
The first class that I developed was my spa therapy certification. It was kind of helping massage therapists who may not have been in the spa world understand the benefits of scrubs and wraps. And over my career, I had been taught about 3 or 4 different styles of stone massage. So I had morphed all 4 versions of the stone massage into one, what I call a ritual. I really try and avoid the word protocol because it's more about creating harmony with the client and in giving them an experience that goes beyond just getting a stone massage.
Okay. And then what was your second one then?
The second one after that was my Tools for Effective Deep Tissue workshop, which is it's hands down my favorite workshop to teach. Not that I don't enjoy teaching the other ones, but the Tools for Effective Deep Tissue class is it's a combination of the concepts from craniosacral therapy and the philosophies of structural integration. It was co-developed with a buddy of mine who his background was in neuromuscular, and he went on to become a rolfer. And my background was in myofascial release, and I became certified in cranial work, and we started trading body work and noticed that we were getting to the same place, just taking 2 different roads. And after a couple of years of trading body work and just having long hours of conversation, we decided to roll this into a workshop. So over the 2 days, we teach massage therapists how to approach the body with that craniosacral touch. Pay attention to what's going on in their body so that they're not jeopardizing their body mechanics and their career's longevity with poor body position. And then we also teach them how to look at the body in different ways and how the body moves in gravity and how gravity affects the body. And then, in that short 2-day workshop, we kind of help them amend what they're doing so that their outcomes become more effective. And it affects them on a personal level because then they don't burn out. They identify burnout, and they actually get to, stay in the pocket of providing awesome therapy and begin working smarter and not harder.
And how do you sell that class? Because I know so many therapists need like body mechanics, those kind of things, but in general, I mean, a lot of them are just after the techniques, it seems.
Yeah, there's that's kind of the path not taken in kind of the CE provider world. I don't necessarily want to, for my vision, focus in on a specific modality or technique. It's about, again, it's going back to touch education. When I teach the workshop and the way that I sell the workshop is, and it's come through in the reviews a couple of times, people have actually made the comment to, the movie Top Gun. You're already a good pilot. You come to Top Gun to become a better pilot. So you're already a good therapist. You're already out there doing it and making a living doing it. Why not raise the level of what you're doing simply by listening to the body and letting the body tell you the story instead of having to feel like you come in with this big giant toolbox of protocols but don't necessarily know where they fit or how to apply them.
Yep. And is it effective or effective?
It's affective.
And then somebody made a comment on my Facebook page about that. So can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's my we'll call it professional sarcasm. It's this little term. It's come out over the years. In my ode to Mrs. Wallowick, my 4th grade grammar teacher. She just absolutely drilled grammar into me. And the idea of effective with an E is it means to create a result. And the class and what people get from the class will improve their results. But the reason I chose affective is it means to influence. And my goal for that class is to influence the way that people think about body work, and it's a way to influence the way that they think about themselves in the body work. So many times we get caught in, as therapists, we get caught in this rhythm or a rut where we do body work the way we do body work. And a definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different outcome. So when we have clients who plateau, the idea of the tools for affective deep tissue is to influence the therapist so that they begin looking at the body from different directions.
And have you had to explain that a few other times too, or?
Yeah, we're probably just shy of about 1,000. But it's a conversation starter too, so it works.
Oh, definitely. And what other kind of classes do you offer?
We offer, like I said, the spot therapy certification workshops. We offer, I have other instructors that are employees of mine that teach Eastern modalities. Again, I only teach the classes that are my strengths. So when I had the opportunity to possibly expand my menu of classes I offered, I looked for individuals who were strong in modalities that were not my thing. So I have an instructor, Amy, who she does Thai massage and she teaches traditional poulticing. And she's a fifth-generation farmer, so she teaches people how to use different herbs, what herbs to use, and how to treat specific conditions with Thai massage and poultice. And then we also offer a reflexology class that teaches, a quick version, a medium version, and a long version, and then also teaches massage therapists how to incorporate reflexology into what time frame they have. Is it an add-on? Is it an add-in? Is it a standalone treatment? And gives them the different, it's the idea that we kind of came up with is, you can have a regular screwdriver, you can have an Allen wrench, or you can have, a power drill. So she gives you each one of the tools depending on what job you're trying to do.
Yep. And then I know on the World Massage Conference this last year, you did a class on, was it hydrotherapy, right?
Yeah. I did a class on thermotherapy and teaching massage therapists the benefits of thermotherapy, the different facilities that you can use, and it's kind of a piece of the spa certification that just went a little bit further into hydro. The main piece that I hoped that people got out of that was, there's different ways to skin a cat, so to say, and the idea of profit in retail sales in the massage world is like this, it's Darth Vader coming around the corner, via the Death Star. Retail, I don't want to sell anything. I'm not a used car salesman. Well, I get that, and I refuse to sell cars myself. But, it's a matter of empowering the therapist to understand that they're extending the value of their work when clients take a hot pack home, or when clients actually are proactive and do their homework. Clients that do their homework actually get better versus the ones who just kind of want to come in and feel better.
Yep. And for the average massage therapist, we don't get a lot of training in hydrotherapy or thermotherapy and things like that, so it's hugely beneficial.
Yeah, it's one of those things that just kind of, it was one of those classes that I started teaching in massage school, and then as the therapist came back, after they had graduated and gotten their license, they're like, what did you teach us in school? Like, obviously you paid attention really well, so that's awesome. So welcome back. But yeah, it was just one of those things. What I want to do with Touch Education is empower therapists to succeed. I love our profession. I believe in the power of our profession. And the piece that most massage therapists fail at is the piece of business. So in each one of the Touch Education classes, we build in business training, not MBA training, but business training. How do you talk to your clients about hydrotherapy? How do you begin getting return on your investment of going to all of these continuing education workshops, but you don't ever raise your price? You've got a $100,000 toolbox, but you're still changing oil.
You got to trademark that, okay?
Yeah, I'm writing that down right now.
Yeah. And who's this other person in the screen here?
This other person here is, his name's David Tomlinson. He is a phenomenal mind in the world of craniosacral therapy. During my career as a teacher, and my passion for craniosacral therapy just kind of evolved and never stopped growing. I started teaching and TAing with the Upledger Institute, and I had TA'd with a good range of instructors, and they were all pretty awesome. But for me, Dave really stuck out in his ability to connect on a real visceral level to the students of what cranial work is, what it can do, and just really had that connection with them.
So is that all true, David?
Apparently, yeah.
He really talked you up.
I'll just go to my PayPal account and take care of that right now.
I'll be looking for it.
I think that's one of the best introductions I've ever had. I do love craniosacral therapy. I've been doing it for about 18 years now, and it is an absolute passion of mine. And it has gone from a passion working to a passion teaching. And I spent probably 8 or 9 years teaching for the Upledger Institute, loved every minute of it, and love everything that organization and Dr. Upledger has brought to the manual therapy world, and just finally came to a place of, you know what, it's time to do something on my own and take all my experiences and put together a curriculum that supports what I'm feeling.
Yep, and I had you on last year, I think it was December, and I teach just basic craniosacral therapy, and I always refer to that video too, so I have the students watch that on their own time, but to really hit home about what craniosacral therapy is too, because you really summed it up really nice. So,
thank you,
yep.
Thank you.
Yep, and you even mentioned something about, was it Dolphins too, and yeah,
maybe.
Yeah. It was a while ago, yeah.
I think again, I go back to Dr. John Upledger for that. He within the cranial world, anyways, introduced the idea of working with dolphins, and there's something really magical and special about working with dolphins, and all that they bring to a treatment session. And I know that's something that I'm looking at as well. I've got a few people and contacts that I'm working with that at some point down the road I'd like to involve that in the curriculum that we have going.
And can you explain a little bit about your curriculum too and stuff? What's going on now with that?
Sure. When I was on last time, I was just in the process of launching this brand new curriculum, and it did launch. I started it in April here in Burlington, Vermont, and the response has just been outstanding. People are just loving it. What is different about this? Typically within the manual therapy world and continuing education, a lot of the classes are just a series of 4-day classes that you can go and you can take, and you can learn an amazing amount of information and great skills, and then you go practice. And then when it's time to go do the second class, you can go take that wherever, and you get a great chance to travel, or sometimes you're lucky and it comes right to your hometown. What I was noticing when I was teaching, and it wasn't just here in the States, it was throughout North America, and actually I've been lucky enough to travel a fair bit internationally. And what I seemed to really enjoy, and what I saw that the students enjoyed, was when they ran into the same people in the class, that there was a sense of community that started to form, and they felt a lot more comfortable, and they actually learned the work a little easier, and they learned it more efficiently because they had a bit of a background with the people. So what I started putting together and finally developed into this 2-year curriculum was a class that has a set number of people in it, and it's the same people through the entire program. And so how it's set up is that there are only 12, maybe 14 people per curriculum, and it's the same people for the entire 2 years. And how we run it is every 13 weeks we get together. So over the 2 years, there's 8 different modules that you'll go through, which works out at about every 13 weeks, depending on holidays. That can be a little more sometimes. And we come together, and you start right at the very beginning, learning, history and how to feel the cranial rhythm, and how, kind of like Matt said, how to touch people in an effective way. What I'm trying to do with this is help people become the best therapists they can possibly be. And sometimes in the larger classes of 40, 50, 60 more people, people can slip through the cracks. And my idea in keeping it small is that nobody's going to slip through the cracks, because what I also do is I have anywhere from 3 to 4 teaching assistants per class. So that's, there's one teaching assistant for every 3 people about.
Wow.
So
that's really impressive.
I've never come across a class like it before, but it really makes sure that everybody gets the exact individual attention they need, and they get every single question answered they can possibly have. And what I've noticed so far in running this class is people are dropping in and getting the work quicker and more efficiently. When they came back for the second class, the first day and a half of every class is a review of the class before. So it's a review, but they were just getting it. There wasn't any nerves of like, oh, what am I going to do next? They dropped in, they did what they were taught and what they've been practicing, and then we moved on to the next piece. And another piece that I'm really enjoying about it is, because we've got 2 years to get it all covered, we don't necessarily have to cover everything we're supposed to in one class. If the people in the class are really getting hung up on one area or really need extra support or extra time in a particular area, then great, we'll spend as much time as we need to on that, and you know what, we'll get it caught up in the next class, because we've got 2 years to get the material covered.
Yeah, and that's a hard thing with a lot of workshops. A lot of times instructors are just flying into a certain area for a weekend and then they're gone. But with you, I mean, you're just keeping coming back and stuff. It's so nice. It's just like instant tutoring all the time then, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's just exactly. You keep coming back, and that's the other good thing about this is it's in one place. It's not like we're doing 8 different modules all over the world. It's 8 modules, 2 years in one particular area. The one place I've got going right now is Burlington, Vermont. And one of the reasons that I'm on here tonight with Matt and you is that Matt and I are, I guess now officially, launching a 2-year curriculum in Orlando that's going to be starting in November.
Okay.
And this is, I know this is my curriculum. I'm really excited about it. This is a great opportunity. We've got spaces that are already starting to fill. I can tell you right now, we don't have the 12 spots left. And I am super excited to be coming down to Florida and Orlando. I have to tell you, my kids are super excited that I'm going to Orlando, especially now that Harry Potter Land is available. But it's just such a unique program. Within the biodynamic model of craniosacral therapy, they have a 2-year program. But within this other stream of learning of craniosacral therapy, there's nothing like this. And one of the other additions that I've done, coming from watching people not necessarily get the work or coming into the next classes not fully understanding, not everybody has the support through the curriculum, and there can be a lot of real limiting beliefs that come into play of, you know what, I'm not getting this, I'm not understanding it, I don't know if I'm doing the techniques properly. So the piece that I've added in is every month throughout the entire 2 years, there's a teleconference with everybody in the curriculum. We get together for an hour, maybe an hour and a half tops, and just talk about how things are going for you. You get the chance to voice those limiting beliefs, and we give you techniques and tricks and tips to work with those limiting beliefs. So it's not like it's an every 13 weeks thing. It's an every month. We're checking in with you for the entire 2 years, making sure that you are getting this in the exact perfect way for you so that you can be the best possible therapist you can be.
Great. And then how did you guys meet then and really came up with this idea?
I had
Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I had TA'd with Dave a number of times, doing like Cranial 1 and Cranial 2 workshops. And just kind of casual conversation, we had been talking, and I was explaining to him, the ideas and thoughts and concepts of touch education. And when he brought and presented the idea of this 2-year curriculum to me, it really made sense to me. This idea of the same students going through a 2-year curriculum. Because a lot of times we, as a therapist who's gone to, again, that $100,000 toolbox, I've been to a lot of classes. As you go through a series, you don't always get as much as you kind of want to, because maybe there's so much information and not enough time, or you're not getting enough detail. So in the 2-year curriculum, the model that Dave has developed, it really struck with me that people are going to be supported throughout the entire series.
And do people get a certification with that then?
Yes, yeah, we have a certification through our school, the New England Center for Craniosacral Therapy, and by the end of the curriculum, they are certified. The slight difference with our certification is that I involve the students with it as well. It isn't just me sitting up there in some big chair like Lincoln saying, yes, you are now a craniosacral therapist. That's definitely part of it, that myself and the TAs, there's a practical part, you're going to be tested on everything, and there's a written part, but there's also a presentation piece that everybody has to do a small presentation, 15, 20 minutes, on something to do with craniosacral therapy, and the students review you as well. So it adds in a whole peer-reviewed part as well, so that when you're done, you really know your stuff. And the other piece with the certification is I am having people do case studies. So in order to finish, you need to have a case study done. Because for me, one of the big things with cranial work is we need more research out there. And I'm just putting it in the curriculum that if you're going to do this, I'll teach you how to do a case study, but you're going to need to write one as well, and just make it part of the package.
And do you see getting into other cities or states and stuff soon too?
I'm certainly open to it. I'm very much limited by time and calendar, because each class there's 4 classes per year, every 13 weeks. As soon as I start getting above 2, maybe 3 curriculums, I never see my family ever. And I can definitely see a time, I've already got it on my long-term bulletin board in my office, of having another instructor, or 2 more instructors, or some amount more, so that this can actually branch out. Because I've had a significant interest from the West Coast. I've had significant interest from outside of the States to actually bring this here, and I'm having to sit there and say, I can't yet. I want to, but I can't. So I need to. I'm working on that.
But it'll eventually happen, right?
Yes. Oh, no question. There's no question. This is something that's growing, and I really feel strongly about it, and I really like the partnership with Matt. Again, I really like how he approaches the idea of creating the best possible student, or allowing them to become the best possible student. There's a lot of Top Gun jokes going through my head right now, but it's being partnered with someone who has that same kind of quality control inside their head is really appealing to me. So yeah, I'm absolutely all for bringing this as far as it can go.
And honestly, this seems really groundbreaking. Just because have you ever really heard of this or seen it done before like this?
Like I said, the biodynamic model, they do this. They have, my understanding, I haven't looked hugely into it, but I know they have a continuing program that you sign up for. Within, I'm more up-ledger based, because that's where all my training is from. And that I'm aware of, there's nothing within that schooling model like this. What I'm also doing, the program itself is called Integrative Craniosacral Therapy, because it's not just up-ledger. I'm not just teaching that again. I am bringing in all the different pieces that I feel personally are significant. So the bits of the biodynamic model, we're looking at all the different rhythms in the body, not just the 6 to 12 craniosacral rhythm that a lot of people are familiar with, but we're also looking at the mid-tide and the long tide, and we're looking at different approaches. And the other piece that I think is huge is we're working now with the nervous system. A lot of manual therapies just look at how to work with the soft tissue and release restrictions and compensations and trauma from the soft tissue. What we're getting in and working with is actually helping the nervous system itself release. There's a guy by the name of Dr. Stephen Porges who's come up with a model called the polyvagal theory, which looks at how evolutionarily we are developed, I guess, and our response to trauma. And that there's, first we have this like social response of trying to talk our way out of it, and then we go to our next most evolved, so you go into your fight or flight. But then if none of those works, you go into this freeze state. And a lot of times with trauma, people get stuck in this frozen place. And if you think about it from a massage perspective of those clients that just never get better, you know, they've got the upper traps that just never let go, or the low back that never lets go, or whatever it might be. A lot of times they're just plain frozen. And we're incorporating how to work with that and allow that trauma, that tension, that frozen to thaw, and we're bringing flexibility back to the nervous system, which then allows the soft tissue piece to work even more effectively.
And with craniosacral therapy, how many craniosacral therapies are there, would you say?
Lots.
Yep.
There, you know, I think the big ones are Upledger. There is the biodynamic model, Franklin Sills, Michael Shea. There is Hugh Milne, who, those are kind of the biggies. Since doing this and being on Twitter, there are lots of people teaching it. And I'm all for the work spreading as much as possible. I really want to make sure that the work's spreading with quality. And again, that's why I'm wanting to, you know, partner up with Matt, and just so there's a quality control in there.
And do you think clients would know the difference between the different styles of cranial out there?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I really truly believe that all of them have a lot to offer to people. And I think there is a great resource of cranial work out there that people can pick and choose and find what they like. I like the Upledger-ish model more because this is my experience, it's little more hands-on. You know, I might be getting in trouble with other therapists here, but my experience. And when we're adding in the nervous system piece, that adds a whole new perspective to it, and it really is a different treatment. It's the same, it's cranial work, we're still approaching the body the same way, but it's just bringing a whole big different piece to it. I don't know if Matt, if you have anything else to add.
Yeah, that's you know, that the idea of working with the nervous system is something that we tie in that Tools for Effective Deep Tissue class. The idea, one of the things that I underscore, you know, the idea that we're working with people, not on people. You know, and I get into we'll call them elevated discussions with therapists all the time who, you know, throw around the term fix. Well, I can fix this, or I can fix that, or I fixed this, or I fixed that. You know, the fact of the matter is we're facilitating change in people, and if we come at it from a respectful spot where we blend with the tissue, as it is in the craniosacral model, we're blending with them, and we're not blending on them. You know, if we were blending on them, it would be some sort of, you know, crazy modern contemporary art. You know, but what we're doing is we're blending with the tissue, and I think that's really important. You know, when we're working with the nervous system, when we're working with the muscle tissue, that from that concept, the client then is engaged in the treatment. And they begin to understand that this is a cooperative agreement, that they're not coming in to get their oil changed. You know, they're actually going to be part of this healing process.
Yeah. And then with the cranial sacral, when does it start again? When does your program start?
The first module starts November 10th.
Okay.
November 10th through 13th.
Okay, so you got a little time then and stuff. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I'm going to do, this is not really, I'm not going to sell a used car at the moment, but I want to give people kind of a break for signing up for this. And what I will do is, if people are wanting to sign up for this program, I can give you the address at some point throughout this call. If they sign up by, what are we on Wednesday? If they sign up by like next Wednesday, give them a week, I'll knock $400 off the price.
Okay.
And how the pricing works out is the entire 2-year program is $5,200. And some of you might be going like, oh my God, that's $5,000. It is. If you knock the 400 off, that brings it down to 4,800. How that works out to about $600 per 4-day class, which is very, very competitive with everything that's out there, if not a lot cheaper. And I've done it deliberately because I want to bring the work into the hands of everybody. I don't want to, this isn't about me making money. This is about spreading the work. And Matt and I had a bunch of conversations about pricing, and I've talked to different people about pricing, and it's, I want to make this affordable. So, it'd be $4,800. You sign up by Wednesday, and then how it works is people sign up for a PayPal account, and it works out to $195 monthly for the 2 years.
Oh,
and
that ain't bad at all then. So
it's really not for what you're getting. I've had a couple of people who have been around cranial work for a long time looking at me going, "You're just dumb." Why are you charging so little? Like, for what you're offering, you could be charging way more. I could be charging way more. But for one, nobody knows who I am yet. And that's not to say that all of a sudden we're going to be talking next year and it's like, yeah, the classes are $2,000 per module. But and it's not like also some kind of altruistic, hey, me. I just want the work to get out there and spread, and the economy's kind of tough now for some people, so let's make it as affordable as possible.
Yeah, and typically when people are doing all this, typically they might have to fly to places too, so all this extra added expenses too. So, but if it's just in one location, especially if you live close by, it's so reasonable then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And this was just a no-brainer for me with Matt, because Matt's right down there.
Yep.
Hurricane-free Orlando.
Yeah. So you basically have the whole set schedule within 2 years in advance then, would you say, or?
Yeah, I've got all the dates ready. They're on the website, and people can look right, well, not now because then you won't be watching this, but leave Massage Nerd, go there.
Yeah.
All the dates for the next 2 years are right on there, so you could have your next 2 years booked completely.
Okay. And then, do you ever get with your classes? Do you ever get into like 2 therapists on 1 client at all too?
Yes, that is definitely part of it. That we look at how to work in with multiple hands, because that can be a huge piece. Because you can have 2 people working on opposite ends of a restriction and helping it to release. So that's a big part of it. And where that actually fits in is within the 2nd year, I run one of the modules is a student clinic. So we have clients come in, and we have a couple of people working on each client, kind of like in a big room, and the TAs and myself walking around, and it's a way for them to start to work on the general public and get an idea of how to work on people in a multi-hand setting and feel confident in what they're doing.
And seriously, I mean, 1 TA for 3 or 4 people, that's just insane. I mean, and it's a really good thing for the patients, or I mean, the students.
I think so. You know, again, I've taught classes. I remember the very first class I ever taught with Upledger. It was the scariest moment of my life. But Upledger did a wonderful job in supporting me with TAs. There were about 18 people in the class, and I had 12 TAs.
Whoa.
We were covered. But I actually took a lot from that. I appreciated the support they gave me, but I also realized that it's nice having a lot of people. It's nice that students aren't having to look around for, someone, because there's always someone there.
Yeah. And with craniosacral therapy, I mean, typically, do you have to be quiet in a way when you're performing it, or?
I don't know if you want to play Guitar Hero while you're doing it.
Especially the drums. Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be a Guitar Hero, but you want to be. You can absolutely be talking, and you can be having conversation back and forth, and then there's times where it's quiet. I think it's the same as massage, Matt. You probably agree. Sometimes with massage, you're talking to your client. Sometimes you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you have occasionally you have the people that talk to relax. That's what they do. The example I use a lot with my students is like a stay-at-home mom. The only time she actually gets out of the house is when she's getting a massage. So maybe she wants to sit on a table and not have to talk about Barney and Elmo and the Adventures on Sesame Street that week. But I have an 8 and a 9-year-old, so if she wants to have that Barney and Elmo conversation, I'm equipped to handle that.
Yep. And then with craniosacral therapy, I mean, do you get into the whole unwinding part two and stuff, and just cover the whole gamut basically?
The curriculum covers everything from the basics of how to feel fascia, work with fascia, feel restrictions, through to helping limbs kind of release, unwind, into how to work with the emotions and deal with the emotional component of trauma, and again into the nervous system as well. So we're covering everything.
Okay, and even if somebody's had craniosacral therapy training before, they can still get a lot out of these then, right?
Oh my God, absolutely. What is amazing to me about this is, with this first curriculum that I'm running, I've actually got people in it who've been through at least 3 levels with Upledger, and I knew them from like kind of my Upledger world. But I'm always having therapists looking at it going, okay, no, I want to sign up for this. I've actually got some therapists who are wanting to sign up for the one in Florida. I'm not sure what it is. It's kind of baffling to me, but I really appreciate it. I think there's always something you can learn, and having the chance, one of the great things that people can do sometimes with, I think it's any class, whether it's massage, acupuncture, cranial, whatever, retake classes, because you've already had the material once, and then you can resit it, and you don't have all the pressure of trying of learning it for the first time. And I think that's one of the things that our curriculum offers, is that chance to reset stuff in a really chill way, really relaxed, laid back way, and get all the material.
And are you guys thinking about doing any other classes in this model at all?
I've not to steal Dave's ideas, as far as this model, but I might borrow it. The idea of just
He's
getting
going to do a cranial one.
Getting therapists into their hands again to feel the body. One of my other instructors, who actually used to be she was my anatomy and physiology instructor in massage school. I actually took one of her workshops a couple of weeks ago. Took my own workshop through her. It was really weird and kind of strange, signing my own certificate at the end of the class to give myself credit for it. So it was kind of weird. But she's basically teaching the science of massage. And the way and the amount of knowledge that she has to present it, I think it's going to fit in this model that Dave has developed really, really well. Because we went all the way back to identifying tissue types and looking at how different massage strokes affect different tissue types based on their structure and function. So I mean, it really, the name of the class is still kind of murky, but I think it's going to end up being the science of massage in relation to like shoulder pain, neck pain, low back pain, stuff like that.
And where do you see the future of touch education going?
Touch education was founded on 3 concepts. Education, obviously, touch education. But,
and touch.
Treatment, and selling cars. So education, treatment, and supplies. Yeah. The education piece, is kind of self-explanatory. We really want to get out there and make sure that we're providing quality education as well as functional education. It's great to go take a workshop, but if you don't know how or you're not comfortable applying that technique on Monday morning, I don't know that you got a complete return on your investment. So the education piece we're going to keep there. We're going to keep developing workshops and pushing the knowledge base of massage from being massage therapy to being massage professionals. And again, it's a semantics thing, but that's kind of how, if we want to legitimize what we're doing, it's kind of how we have to carry ourselves. And as far as the future for touch education, other than education, is I don't have plans to ever leave the treatment room. I mean, if I have to, obviously I will, but, one of the things that I want to make sure for touch education and my instructors is that we're available for the students. If a student has a question about, after they finish the class, neck pain, low back pain, and they want to come get a treatment, we're going to have time in our schedule to do what they learned in the class on them from the instructor, so that people can come and get treatment from the instructors. If a therapist, I had this happen a couple of weeks ago, I had a therapist who took the deep tissue class, said, hey, I'm really having issues with my client. They've seemed to have plateaued. So what I did is I invited the former student's client, but also the student to come in, and I let the student watch me massage and assess and treat this person so that they could see, the thought process, not just in the classroom setting, but also in this is actually being applied session. So I think that idea of making sure that the treatment aspect is available for the general public and for, the support system for our clients. And, that third piece of the education, treatment, and supplies piece is if we don't have the right tools, we can't do the right job. So if there's something that I've used in my career, I completely recommend those things without the sales pitch, because it's stuff that I use in my clinic. And that's really where a lot of the World Massage Conference class came from, was, showing people that a hot pack is awesome in a treatment room, but it works just as good at home. And getting the right supplies in a therapist's hands, so they're not making a sale, they're making a recommendation based on a heart-to-heart conversation that the therapist has with the client, because the therapist genuinely wants the client to get better and be better. So that's kind of the future, Jedi vision of what we have going for touch education.
And are you guys going to be at any conferences or anything in the next year or so?
Touch education is putting ourselves in position to do that. The American Massage Conference is going to be in San Diego next year. We're blessed to be part of the one in Atlanta, which was just absolutely amazing. I am not sure about some of the other conferences. I'm just kind of waiting to hear back from them as to whether or not we've been selected for the conventions. But I'm actually going to be in California September 13th and 14th doing this Tools for Effective Deep Tissue class out in sunny Orange County, California. So I'm leaving Orange County, Florida, and going to Orange County, California.
Okay. And do you do a lot of teaching outside of Florida then too?
I do. Touch Education is going to have a strong presence in Georgia and in Tennessee next year. Working on a couple of details to try and bring some of our workshops up into New Jersey and Maryland. And we're kind of a grassroots company. You're looking at the president and CEO as I lose my hair and envy Dave's haircut. If there's a therapist out there that's watching this presentation that likes what they see or is intrigued, by all means, get in contact with me. That's how our classes have gone to Georgia. That's how our classes have gone to Tennessee. That's how my class next month is going to California. I had somebody who watched my interview about the massage conference in Atlanta on Massage Radio with Felicia Brown, and she watched the class and she enjoyed the way that I talked and the aspect and the angle that I teach from, this the sense of humility that we teach from. So through a couple of conversations and emails, we're bringing a class to her and her associates out in California.
Okay, cool. And David, do you teach outside of there too then, or?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm open to traveling wherever. The New England Center Craniosacral Therapy is still newish, but we are in the works of getting classes going south of the border, down in Mexico, and there's some interest up in Canada as well. And I've got some interest for Seattle, so I'm definitely moving out. Right now, my main focus has been getting this 2-year curriculum going. I have some other projects that have been on the back burner that are now that things are starting to go, that I'm starting to put together, and they are classes for already established craniosacral therapy therapists, more advanced classes dealing with, working with the eyes, how to work with vision issues, how to work with the soft palate, more in-depth mouth work. So it's definitely coming, and we're also starting to look at what we're going to do conference-wise. I like the idea of going out to California next year, so just have to wait and see.
Road trip.
What happens.
Yeah. Let's see, I'll meet you in St. Louis, and we'll go from there.
You're on.
Yeah.
And we also have we have a class coming up next month. I fly to California, then I fly back to Orlando, and then I drive to Tampa because Dave and I are putting on, Dave is, I'm helping him out, a fluid dynamic class. It's a craniosacral class that involves the significance detector, and we actually go out into the Gulf of Mexico and show therapists how to work in liquid environments and the benefits of that as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool class. It's one of the more advanced ones. It is dealing specifically with the significance detector and how to use it as a whole body evaluation tool, and how to work with trauma as a system. A lot of times people look at trauma and it's just like, oh, look, the shoulder. But trauma, when it happens to an entire body. And what we're starting to teach people how to do is how to look at the entire system, how to work with the entire system, how to use the significance detector, how to use the fluids in the body, and just to become a more well-rounded therapist. And then, like Matt said, we have the extra is get to work in the ocean, for 4 days, where we spend, the classroom is the morning stuff, and in the afternoon we are in the ocean for the afternoon.
What?
It's a tough way to spend an afternoon in class, I'm telling you.
Yep.
It's rough.
So you massage with sunscreen then?
Yeah.
What I will say about this class, thank you for the intro into it, Max. We actually still have a couple of spots open for it. So if you're at all interested in coming, it's on Treasure Island. And September 15th to 18th, there's still a couple of spots. So if you're a cranial person and you've been through at least just the first level of craniosacral therapy, you can be part of there. So come find me on Facebook or my website, and we can talk.
And for craniosacral therapy, can people actually practice that if they're not massage therapists at all then? In the states where you're doing it at?
It really depends. With where I'm doing it, yes. Vermont is very unique that way. There are not a lot of rules governing anything in Vermont. Places like New York, it's way stricter. Our kind of go-to line for people is you really need to check out what your state licensure is, and if you're allowed to touch people without a license to touch, then that's one thing. But a lot of states these days, thankfully, are moving to a model where you actually have to have some education and knowledge and experience to be able to work on people.
Yep. Yeah, because I live in a state where there's really no rules and regulations and stuff like that, so it's just all over the board.
Mm-hmm.
But Florida, I mean, they got their stuff together basically.
Yeah, we kind of have it locked down here. I mean, in Florida, you have to have a license to touch. Every semester when I'm at the massage school teaching, students, there's inevitably, a handful that are Reiki therapists and want to practice Reiki professionally, but they need a license to touch. So to practice cranial work, absolutely, in the state of Florida, you have to have a license to touch. One of the most unique experiences I had going through the curriculum of cranial work when I did is, in my upper level class, I actually sat next to a dentist and an EMT who used cranial work every day. The dentist did it for TMJ, but the EMT was telling me that he does it sort of under the ruse of just kind of, being there with people, but he's actually using cranial work in transit with people after car accidents and slip and falls and, in trauma units. So it's not limited to massage therapists, but I definitely recommend avoiding the creepy vibe and wanting to touch people that way.
Yep.
But I can help you out. So, at least have a license that kind of clears you from being that goofy, creepy person.
Yep. And are you guys going to be developing in other classes in the near future, would you say, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, with touch
Come
education,
on, give me a little bit here.
with touch education, I have myself, and then I also have a handful of other instructors who, they're kind of organically growing their classes and their specific strengths. And over the couple of years that Dave and I have been in conversation, I think there's definitely room to grow and develop new curriculum and new concepts in teaching. But the main thing that, like Dave said, and myself, it's really about quality control. You can teach anybody anything, but to really share knowledge with them so that they can integrate that into themselves as a human being, and then as a healthcare practitioner, that's really where we want to grow. Is make sure that people are getting education that's going to help them, help people.
Yep. And what's the best? Go ahead.
The one class I'm looking at, you wanted a tidbit.
Yep.
People will get a cape.
What?
Superheroes.
What?
Making stuff up at this point.
Come on, give me more than that.
No, I actually am. I've been talking to Matt a little bit about this. I really want to put together almost a cranial curriculum for water. So right from an intro level class through higher levels, but have it all based around just working in water, because there are people who make their living just working in water. And if we can teach them how to do craniosacral therapy in an aquatic setting, I think there's a big market for that.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And what's the best way for people to get a hold of you guys then?
You first.
Yeah.
I've got this great carrier pigeon. Typically, I'm on Facebook. Facebook's really good if you just do a search for the New England Center for Craniosacral Therapy. Our website is the first 6 letters of that, so it's NECCT. NECCST.com. What I will say right now is that we're in the process of finally getting our website up and fully functional. It's been almost a year of interesting stuff. So it is NECCST.com, but right now /WordPress. So if you want to get to the site that it's moving to, it's NECCST.com/WordPress. And then at some point in the next week, it's going to transfer over. People can also call me if they want, and my phone number should be it's on the website, and it's on, I think it's on Facebook as well.
Okay.
Yeah. And for me, either telegraph or smoke signals usually works better.
I like carrier pigeons better, though.
I like him. He's good.
Yeah, give it to an alligator and he'll bring it down here in Florida.
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook as well, Matthew Howe, as well as Touch Education has a Facebook page. You can find me either personally or through Touch Education, either one. I'll answer. And then our website is www.toucheducation.com, all one big giant long phrase. And any therapist out there that knows what it's like to run, manage, and keep a website up and running understands that it's so much fun that everybody should do it. Yeah, that's that professional sarcasm right there.
Yeah.
But we're always posting stuff on the website for Touch Education as far as classes that are coming up. And Touch Education, I don't just promote only Touch Education classes. Friends of mine in the industry that I believe in their product and I believe in their classes. I promote their classes as well. That's why I teamed up with Dave the way that I have, is because I believe in his product. So Touch Education can be a resource for massage therapists if they just want to see what's out there and kind of get an idea of what workshops are available that they're going to get bang for their buck. So toucheducation.com, and find me on Facebook.
Okay, perfect.
And one last thing I'd like to add in about the curriculum that we were just talking about for Florida. What I'm going to do as soon as we're done here, I will get a link up on our Facebook page, and that will have a link directly to the curriculum. And also, if you're right at the place of wanting to sign up, it'll have a link right to the registration page as well.
Okay, perfect. Okay, well, it's been a pleasure, guys.
Always a pleasure, Ryan.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in then. Thanks.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
See ya.